Hello everyone, welcome to a new game called Sharf. Actually it's no longer for sale on the Steam store. I'm not sure why. Some people claim that it's because the developer was taking alternate names and writing good reviews for it, which is not allowed on Steam. Developers can't write reviews for their own games. But the other perspective is that it just was taken off because of too many negative reviews. Basically because there's not much to it. It's just walk right for 5 minutes, walk left for 5 minutes, and that's the end of the game. However, this really did have a profound effect on me, and I'll explain why now. So basically this is not so much of a game as it is an artistic representation. Basically it's a artistic visual, a memorial tribute to a tragic event, sort of similar to 903M. Now for those that have never played that game, how did this happen? 903M was a tribute done by some Scottish developers over the tragic event of back in 2011, I think, where a tsunami killed over 20,000 people. Now this is a memorial event too. The biggest difference between 903M and this one is 903M was by no means a real life tribute. It was all make-believe. It didn't depict the real lives of people. I've lost you. Now, on the other hand, this is definitely a artistic rendering of a real life event, which is somewhat related to the developer himself. Now, in November the 4th, 2015, a girl called Kristina Storozenko, I think, a Russian, a 15-year-old, left the house and was never seen again. I believe she may have just gone for a walk, from the sounds of it, into a forest of some sort of public area, which is quite normal. You've always been near me. Now these portrayal statements aren't so much the portrayal statements of the protagonist here, Christina, but more also the reflections of someone who's looking maybe for, or trying to come to grips with that Christina is gone, missing. So, as I said, she was a member of a Russian village, a small Russian village, and on the exact day that she disappeared, the police decided to actually start questioning around. They kind of suspected that something was amiss very early, but now I don't see you. And they started questioning around, and they questioned one particular person who had a theft conviction against him in a very close neighbouring village. Now I don't know what relationship the victim had with the developer. Now as I said, it was 2015, which is fairly close to when this was actually released. So it would have been bad thoughts won't leave me be, please enough, leave my mind. You've also got to understand that the Russian developer often has there's some sort of broken English problem here, so clear meaning can get lost in translation sometimes as to what the developer is often trying to state. The artistic rendering, while it's still very, very basic, it does adds atmosphere. You can understand that this journey, you're at first don't know what's going on, whether it's foul play, whether whatever is happening here, whether she's in a coma, whether she's dead, you're not actually quite sure. I think you are now in great need of my help, if it's not too late. So here, as I said before, it's more of a portrayal of the people that are worried about her. They know that she's been missing for some time. They're having all these negative thoughts. It must be plaguing their mind quite desperately. So, as I said, even the telephone, the ripped wires, the lack of communication, it's all there. It's all part of this artistic rendering, this portrayal. This statue basically showing that the worst comes to fears is that she's died. I must ask around. Maybe someone has seen you. Now, when Christina left, from what I can understand, for a walk or whatever the case may be, and as I said, I'm not sure of the victim's relationship, whether she was just even people thinking it may have been suicide or whatever. I'm not sure if she was a family member. Not sure if she was a friend or even an acquaintance. Maybe someone he grew up with, as he's a young developer himself. Maybe in the same school. Maybe a connection somewhat to the family. Even if it's an acquaintance, you got to understand that in a small, very, very small village, something very, very tragic like this it has a really profound effect. So much so. Now, as I was about to say, Christina, what can this mean? What do you think? I think it's very cute. So now you go grab a red scarf. You can't go any further, and you start heading backwards. Now, this game does have 3 achievements for those that easily want to achieve. I don't believe you can get it on Steam Store anymore. You can still get it on itchio. I think it's 35 cents. So when Christina went for a walk, from what I can see from the photographs, she may have left with a scarf, from what I can understand. Maybe the scarf was found before she was. Of course, finding that wouldn't have brought about any hope so much. And people's thoughts would have started changing quite drastically. What a game like this does is shows you that we don't really have any means of expressing grief properly, or commemorating a life cut short. It seems the world's very different now. Everything has changed. And when tragic events like this happen, you start to understand that we're not in an innocent world where when things happen to this to you personally, you really start to understand. You start to see maybe a very dark world, and you can enter into a really dark place. As I said, it's really a granite tombstone is really a poor reflection of someone's life that's cut short. We don't have anything adequate to commemorate someone with. And I think the problem is that we're after justice. We want to tragic events like this often make us feel like we're a part of a passenger, that we're no longer in control. And when we long for justice, when we long for this long-lasting good actions, indifferences, lies, distrust, anger, then positive things can come out. And it all depends on having sometimes a clear focus or a clear statement, which is probably where this falls a bit short on the basis of maybe there was so much emotion going through this developer at the time of the event that he didn't even know what to state, just to express the certain things that he himself was feeling at the time. If you had been with me, you would have understood everything. So maybe the guilt of not being with her, it just plagued him immensely. We can start to understand why any victim's family would go through when going through this. It's apparent now that she didn't fare farewell from the event. In fact, she definitely passed away. Seems you were already with me, very close by. I'm not sure what he meant by that statement. I would like to talk to him about that statement. I don't know what she's got Michael Jackson's socks on. Shouldn't really crack jokes on such a serious note. But you know what? I've always wanted more visual representations, more games to affect true life. True crime. My bookcase is full of true crime. And this is the first one that and balls off to the developer for doing this. I think he's got big brass balls. Where are you? Show yourself. I'm trying to find you. Everyone is searching for you. So you can see, as I said, in very simple terms, what the turmoil the family himself was going through, and in a moment will be shown exactly what actually happened. So seems I see something up ahead. I need to move closer. And basically it's her body on a corpse flower stinking of death and stench, and we're trying to show something beautiful in something that's so dark. And basically the last statement, dedicated to the memory of Christina Storosenko. She was raped, brutally murdered, and buried in the woods. Her body found 10 days later. She was only 15 years of age. Now, they did catch the perp, as I said. He was found in a neighbouring village. He confessed to it. He basically just raped her, murdered her. Not sure whether the scarf was part of the strangulation or whether he just smashed her face in, or what he exactly did to her. The news articles didn't really state, but he was in the process of being convicted for 15 years imprisonment. I'm not sure whether he got that, and I've asked the developer. I think the developer is somewhat silent over it. He's still trying to come to grips with what happened, whether, as I said, whether it's his girlfriend. Seems to be some sort of interest there. But statements like this can be of a long-lasting good, and I'm all for this. You can bring something good from the victims of the people that are still alive, can produce good statements. You don't have to be a passenger to these tragic events that take place. And often there's these really bad situations that produce charities that do a long-lasting effect of goodness, such as the Madeline and Alana Foundation, or even spoken out injustices, and can often bring about good laws, such as the Cully Ryan law. The point is here that I'm trying to make is that if the developer really wants to make a statement, then he needs to really be clearer in what the statement is, and maybe even think about keeping this alive, and the injustice alive in memory, and also maybe donate all the proceeds to charity or things like that. And that would change a lot of the negative reviews. Well, I hope it's had some effect on you, just as it did have an effect on me. And as I said, I actually wish there was more games that similar to this on true crime, but had really profound statements to make. Well, until next time, bye for now.